has went viral over a photo that has been displayed with her and Sandy Brondello. Yes, of the New York Liberty. There is a photo that is floating around, which we're about to pick up, and many people is insinuating that Caitlin Clark could be trying to plan the outs.
The reigning queen of basketball is drawing attention from the game's elite, and Stephanie White is clearly feeling the pressure. After months of trying to confine Caitlin Clark's brilliance within a rigid system, like forcing a diamond into a cardboard box, White is finally waking up to what the rest of the basketball world already recognized. Other teams are watching closely, ready to offer Clark the platform and respect her talent commands. Leading the charge? The New York Liberty, who made their interest unmistakably clear with a post-game overture that has the entire basketball community talking.
There is a WNBA team that have been very, very, very much in, they made it clear that they want Caitlin Clark, or they're eventually going to want Caitlin Clark. Along those lines, they made it very, very clear.
Fresh off yet another injury, this time from the kind of unchecked physicality that Stephanie White continues to ignore. Caitlin Clark sat quietly in the tunnel of Barclays Center after the Fever's brutal 98-77 loss to the Liberty. But rather than dwelling on the blowout, there she was, all smiles, casually chatting with Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello, league icon Breanna Stewart, and star guard Sabrina Ionescu, as if they were plotting the most strategic move in WNBA history. And who else happened to be in that circle? None other than Clark's agent, Erin Kane. Because when an agent shows up to a casual post-game conversation, it's rarely just small talk.
Well, we're going to talk about this little scene that took place after the Fever game last night in New York between Sandy Brondello and Caitlin Clark, the New York Liberty, and the agent. The agent. That is what makes this so...
This wasn't just a routine post-game chat among peers. It was a masterclass in recruitment, and the Liberty brought out their top-tier squad to lead the pitch. Breanna Stewart, firmly rooted in New York and vocal about staying there. Sabrina Ionescu, fully committed to the Liberty's long-term vision. And head coach Sandy Brondello, a proven architect of elite talent. Someone who develops generational players rather than holding them back. This wasn't coincidence. It was calculated, and everyone watching knew.
Today, we have just seen the New York Liberty players, after the game, meeting up with Caitlin Clark. It is Stewie, it is Sabrina Ionescu, there is Sandy Brondello. And by the way, Stewie is not leaving New York the rest of her career. That is one thing that I will be 99% sure of. That Stewie is not leaving. New York. Sabrina is not going to leave New York. I think there is a 50-50 chance Caitlin Clark leaves Indiana after her rookie season.
Meanwhile, Stephanie White is likely in the background, mentally replaying every questionable decision she's made this season. Like giving Natasha Howard more first-half minutes than Caitlin Clark. At this point, it's less strategy and more self-sabotage, and the consequences are becoming impossible to ignore.
One thing I like about the New York Liberty, they got a little running gun in their offense. When I watched them the other day against the Aces, and Sandy does a wonderful job making that ball go. And it's fast-paced. They shoot threes. They allow Sabrina be Sabrina. She can shoot her threes. They're a very well-balanced team. They got a little inside, but they also got some outside too. And I can see why they won the championship. And I just hope that when Caitlin Clark feels and sees that, she goes, that's a good idea.
Like imposing minutes restrictions on Clark. Restrictions she openly called silly and flat out rejected. Like standing by as the franchise cornerstone suffers her fourth injury of the season, all while pretending the relentless physicality she endures has nothing to do with it. At some point, denial stops being a coaching strategy and starts looking like negligence.
By the way, Caitlin Clark looks unbelievably happy talking to these folks. But this is how it starts in sports. This is how it starts in the NFL. This is how it starts in the NBA. when you start seeing the wheels in motion, there's signs. There's signs before eventually a player gets traded. A player eventually marks their next destination. The Indiana Fever, you're on notice. You're on notice. You better recognize what you've got going on, the asset in front of you, and you do whatever you have to do to correct what is.
If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe. Stephanie White has spent the entire season clinging to the idea that no one player should rise above the system. She keeps echoing the same worn-out lines about balance and team basketball while her superstar gets battered on the court, and the Fever continue to flounder without a clear identity. Other than we have Caitlin Clark, but we're not quite sure what to do with her. It's like owning a Ferrari and insisting on driving it like a Honda Civic just to prove you're not flashy. At some point, it stops being humility and starts being wasteful.
The obvious issue is Stephanie White is so stubborn to fit a circle in a square peg instead of utilizing the strengths of the team. And she probably felt relief because Caitlin Clark was hurt that, oh, this is my time. I can introduce the culture and the system. And some actually bought in. And then when Caitlin Clark comes back, she doesn't know how to use her. That's not coaching.